First Contact's Dark Warning. Commander Sarah Chen had been staring at the same star chart for 3 hours when the universe changed forever. The coffee in her mug had grown cold hours ago, but she barely noticed. The Deep Space Monitoring Station orbiting Earth's moon was supposed to be the quietest assignment in the Solar Defense Force. Most days, Chen tracked asteroids and cataloged distant supernovas. Today was different. The alert tone that pierced the station's silence was one Chen had never heard before. Her fingers flew across the holographic displays as data streams cascaded down her screens. The computer's artificial intelligence, which had been silent for months, suddenly spoke with urgent precision. Commander Chen, we have detected an artificial signal of unknown origin, source location, approximately 47 light-years from Earth. Signal strength suggests advanced technology far beyond human capabilities. Chen's heart hammered against her ribs. For 70 years, humanity had searched the cosmos for signs of intelligent life. They had found dead worlds, fascinating chemistry, and beautiful stellar phenomena, but never a single trace of another thinking species. Now, on a routine Tuesday morning, the answer to humanity's greatest question was blinking on her screen. Computer, analysis of signal content. Signal appears to be encrypted using mathematical constants as a base cipher. Decryption in progress. Commander, I should note that this signal was specifically directed toward Earth's solar system. The implications hit Chen like a physical blow. This was not a random broadcast scattered across the galaxy. Someone out there knew about Earth. Someone had deliberately chosen to contact humanity. The decryption took 47 minutes. When the computer finally spoke again, its synthetic voice carried what sounded almost like concern. Translation complete. Commander, I recommend you contact Admiral Kane immediately. The message that appeared on Chen's screen was written in perfect English, despite coming from an alien source 47 light-years away. The words were simple, but they carried the weight of cosmic desperation. People of Earth, we are the Zephyrian Collective. We have watched your species from a distance for many of your generations. We send this message knowing it violates the Galactic Preservation Protocol, but our situation has become desperate. An ancient enemy called the Devourers has awakened. They consume entire worlds, converting all matter into more of their kind. 17 star systems have already fallen. Our peaceful fleets cannot stop them. We know your species is classified as a Class 7 predator race, forbidden from galactic contact. But we believe your unique nature may be the only force capable of stopping this threat. We are sending coordinates to our homeworld. Please, if you receive this message, we need your help. Time is running out. Chen read the message 7 times before its full meaning sank in. Humanity was not unknown to the galaxy. They were deliberately avoided. Her species was classified as predators, considered too dangerous for contact with peaceful civilizations. Yet now, these aliens were begging for help from the very beings they feared. Admiral Robert Kane arrived at the monitoring station within 2 hours of Chen's emergency transmission. He was a tall man in his 60s with gray hair and eyes that had seen 3 separate colonial wars. Kane had commanded Earth's defense forces through the Mars Independence Crisis and the Europa mining conflicts. If anyone could handle first contact with hostile implications, it was him. Dr. Amara Okafor came with Kane, her expertise in theoretical xenobiology suddenly becoming the most valuable knowledge on Earth. She was younger than both officers, but her work on possible alien psychology had shaped Earth's first contact protocols for decades. The 3 of them stood in Chen's monitoring station, staring at a message that redefined humanity's place in the universe. Class 7 predator race, Dr. Okafor repeated slowly. They're afraid of us. 17 star systems destroyed, Kane added grimly. If this threat is real, we're looking at genocide on a galactic scale. Chen pulled up additional data her computers had extracted from the alien signal. The message contains coordinates to their homeworld, along with technical specifications for faster-than-light communication. They're not just asking for help, Admiral. They're giving us the technology to reach them. Kane studied the information with the tactical mind that had saved Earth twice before. This could be an elaborate trap. We've never encountered hostile aliens before, but that doesn't mean they don't exist. Dr. Okafor shook her head. Admiral, the mathematical complexity of this signal would require centuries to fabricate. The physics involved in their FTL communication technology is beyond our current understanding. This is genuine. Then we're faced with a choice, Kane said. Help unknown aliens fight an enemy we know nothing about, or focus on defending Earth from a threat that might be heading our way anyway. The debate that followed consumed Earth's leadership for 18 hours. The Global Defense Council met in emergency session. Representatives from every major nation, corporation, and colony argued about humanity's response to the first proven contact with alien intelligence. President Maria Santos of the United Earth Government led the discussion from her office in Geneva. The holographic images of world leaders flickered around the circular table as they grappled with the most important decision in human history. "The risk is enormous," argued Chancellor Wei of the Asian Federation. "We could be flying into a trap that destroys our entire fleet." "The risk of inaction might be worse," countered President Jackson of the North American Union. "If these devourers are real, they'll eventually reach our solar system. Better to fight them far from Earth." Dr. Okafor presented her analysis to the assembled leaders. Based on the linguistic patterns in their message, the Zephyrians appear to be a genuinely peaceful species. Their fear of us seems to stem from our evolutionary history, not from any hostile actions we've taken. "What makes us so dangerous in their eyes?" President Santos asked. "Earth is a death world," Dr. Okafor explained. "Most planets that develop life do so under much gentler conditions. Our world has ice ages, supervolcanoes, mass extinctions, and constant environmental pressures. We evolved to survive catastrophes that would eliminate most species. From a galactic perspective, we're the products of an unusually violent and chaotic world." Admiral Kane provided the military assessment. "Our theoretical war capabilities would seem terrifying to a peaceful species. We've spent 10,000 years perfecting the art of destroying our enemies. Most galactic civilizations probably developed past warfare centuries ago." The debate continued through the night. Religious leaders worried about humanity's moral obligations to help others. Scientists urged caution about exposing Earth to unknown technologies. Military commanders calculated the odds of successful intervention. The decision ultimately came down to a simple vote. By a margin of 1, the Global Defense Council chose to respond to the Zephyrian plea for help. Admiral Kane was given command of Earth's first interstellar military expedition. The fleet would consist of 12 ships carrying humanity's most advanced weapons and 3,000 of their finest personnel. It would be the largest concentration of human firepower ever assembled. Dr. Okafor would accompany the fleet as chief xenological advisor, her theoretical knowledge about alien psychology suddenly becoming practical necessity. Commander Chen, who had first received the alien signal, volunteered to serve as communications officer. The preparation took 6 weeks. Earth shipyards worked around the clock to retrofit exploration vessels with military equipment. The ships were loaded with nuclear weapons, kinetic bombardment systems, electronic warfare packages, and experimental plasma cannons. If humanity was going to enter galactic politics, they would do so with the tools they understood best. As the fleet prepared to depart from Mars' orbital shipyard, Admiral Kane received one final transmission from the Zephyrian homeworld. The message was shorter than the first, but its desperation was unmistakable. "Earth ships, we detect your approach. The devourers have reached our outer colonies. 3 more worlds have fallen silent. Please hurry, our people are dying." Kane assembled his crew in the flagship's main hangar. 3,000 human beings stood before him, representing every nation and colony in the solar system. They were soldiers, scientists, engineers, and medics who had volunteered for a mission that might save the galaxy or destroy humanity. "We are about to become the first humans to travel to another star system," Kane told them. "We go to help beings we've never met, to fight an enemy we don't understand. We go because someone asked for our help and because helping others is what makes us human." The crowd was silent as Kane continued. "The galaxy sees us as predators, as beings too dangerous for civilized contact. Perhaps they're right. Perhaps we are dangerous. But today we'll show them that sometimes dangerous is exactly what the universe needs." The Earth fleet departed the solar system with a brilliant flash of exotic matter interactions. 12 ships carrying humanity's hope and fury began the journey toward the Zephyrian homeworld, racing against time to confront an enemy that had already consumed 17 civilizations. Behind them, Earth continued its rotation, unaware that its children were about to reshape galactic civilization forever. The age of human isolation was ending. The age of humanity as the galaxy's guardian was about to begin. As the fleet entered the strange realm of faster-than-light travel, Admiral Kane stood on his bridge and wondered if they were flying towards salvation or damnation. In 18 hours, they would have their answer. The universe held its breath. When predators become protectors, the emergence from faster-than-light travel felt like being born into a nightmare. Admiral Kane gripped his command chair as the Earth fleet materialized in the Zephyrian system and immediately understood why the aliens had broken their most sacred law to contact humanity. The Zephyrian homeworld hung in space like a wounded animal. Once it must have been beautiful with swirling blue oceans and continents covered in what Dr. Okafor's sensors identified as crystalline cities. Now, vast sections of the planet's surface were gray and lifeless, consumed by something that moved across the land like a metallic plague. "Admiral!" Commander Chen called from her communications station, her voice tight with shock. "I'm detecting thousands of artificial signatures in orbit. They're not ships, sir. They're machines." The tactical display lit up with red contacts surrounding the planet. The objects were geometric and purposeful, each one the size of a city block. They moved with mechanical precision, forming complex patterns as they systematically harvested matter from the planet below. "The Devourers," Dr. Okafor whispered, her scientific instruments analyzing the alien constructs. "Admiral, these things are incredible. They're converting planetary matter into more copies of themselves. It's self-replicating technology on a massive scale." Kane had seen many battles, but nothing had prepared him for this. The enemy wasn't an army or a fleet. It was a technological cancer that consumed everything it touched. "Incoming transmission," Chen announced. "It's from the planet." The voice that emerged from the speakers was melodic and strange, clearly alien but somehow conveying desperate hope despite the universal translator's mechanical interpretation. "Earth vessels, this is Ambassador Zeftar of the Zephyrian High Council. We are grateful beyond expression that you have come. We did not dare hope that the Predator race would answer our call." Kane activated the response channel. "Ambassador Zeftar, this is Admiral Robert Kane of the Earth Defense Fleet. We're here to help. What's the situation?" "Admiral Kane, the Devourers arrived in our system 6 days ago. They began with our outer colonies, consuming entire worlds in hours. Our defense fleets attempted to engage them, but our weapons cannot penetrate their adaptive shielding. Worse, any ship that gets too close is consumed and converted into more Devourer units." Dr. Okafor leaned toward the communication station. "Ambassador, this is Dr. Amara Okafor. Can you tell us how these machines operate? We need to understand their technology." There was a pause before Zeftar responded, and when he did, his translated voice carried what sounded like wonder mixed with fear. "Dr. Okafor, forgive my surprise. We have studied your species for generations, but we never expected to speak directly with one of your scientists. The Devourers appear to be ancient constructs, possibly millions of years old. They analyze any technology they encounter and adapt instantly to counter it. Our particle beams were absorbed and redirected. Our quantum torpedoes were neutralized before impact. Every weapon we fired simply made them stronger." Kane processed this information with growing understanding. The Zephyrians had failed because they fought with advanced, predictable technology. The Devourers had evolved to counter sophisticated weapon systems. "Ambassador, what about primitive weapons? Kinetic impacts, chemical explosives, nuclear fission?" Another pause. "Admiral, we have not used such crude methods for over 1,000 years. Our civilization abandoned violent technologies when we achieved galactic harmony." Dr. Okafor exchanged glances with Kane. The Zephyrians were peaceful, advanced, and completely unprepared for an enemy that required brutal, primitive warfare to defeat. "Admiral," Lieutenant Commander Torres called from the tactical station. 3 Devourer units are moving toward our position. They're accelerating fast." Kane smiled grimly. "All ships, prepare for combat. Load nuclear warheads and charge kinetic cannons. Let's show these machines what a death world produces." The first engagement lasted exactly 4 minutes and 17 seconds. The approaching Devourer constructs were massive, roughly pyramidal shapes covered in shifting metallic surfaces. They moved with mechanical grace, their adaptive shields already analyzing Earth's ships for weaknesses. The human fleet responded with weapons that no civilized species had used for centuries. Nuclear missiles streaked through space, their primitive fusion warheads completely outside the Devourer's programmed expectations. Kinetic projectiles, simple masses of dense metal accelerated to incredible speeds, punched through adaptive shields that had been designed to counter energy weapons. The first Devourer unit exploded in a cascade of mechanical debris. The second managed to fire some kind of conversion beam at the Earth destroyer Hamilton before being vaporized by a concentrated nuclear barrage. The third attempted to retreat but was run down by human fighters using tactics borrowed from ancient atmospheric combat. "Incredible," came Zeftar's voice over the communication channel. "Admiral Kane, your ships destroyed 3 Devourer units without losing a single vessel. How is this possible?" Kane watched his crews reload their weapons with practiced efficiency. Ambassador, we've been fighting wars for 10,000 years. Sometimes the old ways are the best ways. But the victory celebration was short-lived. Dr. Okafor's analysis of the destroyed Devourer units revealed a troubling truth. Admiral, these machines are learning from our attack. The wreckage contains adaptive subroutines that are already beginning to account for nuclear weapons and kinetic impacts. If we give them time to share this information with the main swarm, our advantage will disappear. Kane nodded grimly. Then we don't give them time. All ships, prepare for planetary assault. We're going to hit their main conversion facility before they can adapt. The plan was insane by any reasonable standard. The human fleet would descend into the planet's atmosphere and engage thousands of Devourer units in close combat. It was exactly the kind of chaotic, unpredictable battle that human military doctrine had been designed for. As the Earth ships entered the Zephyrian atmosphere, the planet's defenders joined them. Zephyrian vessels were beautiful things, elegant curves of crystalline metal that looked more like works of art than military ships. But they fought with desperate courage, drawing Devourer fire away from the human assault craft. Commander Chen coordinated with Zephyrian pilots whose names she couldn't pronounce but whose bravery needed no translation. Dr. Okafor worked frantically to identify the central conversion facility while Admiral Kane directed a battle unlike anything in human history. The Devourers fought back with terrible efficiency. Conversion beams swept across the battlefield, trying to capture and transform human ships into more units for their swarm. But human pilots flew with an unpredictability that confused the machine's targeting systems. Earth fighters performed impossible maneuvers, diving through Devourer formations and emerging on the other side with nuclear payloads delivered at point-blank range. "I've found it," Dr. Okafor announced over the battle communication network. "The main facility is in the southern continent. It's massive, Admiral, the size of a small city." Kane could see it on his tactical display, a geometric cancer that had consumed hundreds of square kilometers of what had once been Zephyrian cities. The facility pulsed with malevolent energy as it processed raw matter into new Devourer units. "All ships, converge on the facility, maximum firepower." The assault on the conversion facility became legend among both species. Human ships dove through defensive swarms of Devourer units, their crews screaming battle cries that had echoed across Earth's battlefields for millennia. Zephyrian vessels provided covering fire with weapons that painted the sky in beautiful, deadly colors. The Hamilton, already damaged from the earlier engagement, made the final run. Commander Lisa Park, the ship's captain, flew her destroyer directly into the facility's core while her crew armed every nuclear warhead in their arsenal. "Tell my family I died for something important," Park transmitted as her ship disappeared into the geometric maze of the Devourer facility. The explosion was visible from orbit. The conversion facility, along with Commander Park and her crew of 200, vanished in a brilliant flash that sent shockwaves across the continent. When the light faded, the facility was gone, and with it, the Devourer's ability to create new units. The remaining Devourer units continued fighting for another hour, but without reinforcements, they were gradually destroyed by the combined human-Zephyrian force. When the last machine fell silent, the battlefield went quiet except for the sounds of rescue operations and damage assessment. Ambassador Zeftar met Admiral Kane aboard the flagship 12 hours after the battle ended. The Zephyrian was tall and graceful, with elongated limbs and features that seemed designed for a world of peace and beauty. His large eyes showed an emotion that needed no translation, gratitude mixed with awe. "Admiral Kane, Dr. Okafor, Commander Chen," Zeftar said, his translated words, carrying deep respect. "You have saved not just our world, but our entire civilization. The Devourers had consumed 17 systems before reaching us. We believe you have stopped a threat that could have consumed the entire galaxy." Kane felt the weight of the 347 human lives lost in the battle. "We did what we came to do, Ambassador, but we couldn't have done it without your people's courage." Dr. Okafor was studying readings from her instruments with fascination. "Ambassador, there's something I need to understand. Why were you afraid of us? Your people clearly have courage and advanced technology." Zeftar's expression showed what might have been embarrassment. "Dr. Okafor, your species evolved on a world that regularly attempts to kill everything living on it. You developed weapons technology not for conquest, but for survival. You fight wars not for resources, but for ideas and principles. To beings who have known peace for centuries, this seems terrifying." "And now?" Kane asked. The Zephyrians' response surprised all of them. Now we understand that sometimes the galaxy needs protectors who are willing to do terrible things for good reasons. You are not monsters, Admiral Kane. You are guardians who have never forgotten how to guard. As the Earth fleet prepared to return home, they carried with them more than victory. They carried proof that humanity's violent nature, the very trait that made them outcasts in galactic society, was exactly what the universe needed when peaceful solutions failed. The journey back to Earth would take 3 days. During that time, Kane would compose reports that would reshape human understanding of their place in the cosmos. Dr. Okafor would analyze Zephyrian technology that would advance human science by centuries. Commander Chen would begin learning a dozen alien languages as Earth prepared for its new role in galactic affairs. But first, they would mourn the 347 humans who had died protecting a world they had never seen, for people they had just met, because it was the right thing to do. In the depths of space, other civilizations detected the sudden silence from the Devourer swarm. Across the galaxy, beings who had lived in fear began to hope. Somewhere in the cosmos, a species of predators had chosen to become protectors. The age of human isolation was ending. The age of humanity, as the galaxy's guardian, had begun. From outcasts to heroes. The emergency transmission reached Admiral Kane's fleet when they were only 6 hours from Earth. Commander Chen's face went pale as she decoded the message, her fingers trembling as she processed the implications. "Admiral," she called across the bridge, her voice cutting through the celebratory atmosphere that had filled the ship since their victory. "Priority signal from Deep Space Command. Sir, it's not good news." Kane moved to her station, reading the message that would transform their moment of triumph into humanity's greatest challenge. The words were simple, but they carried the weight of galactic catastrophe. "Earth Fleet Actual, this is Deep Space Command. We have detected massive Devourer signatures emerging from hyperspace in 17 star systems across the galaxy. The units you destroyed appear to have been advanced scouts. The main Devourer fleet has awakened and is moving toward populated systems. Galactic civilizations are requesting immediate assistance. Estimated time until total galactic consumption, 72 hours. Dr. Okafor looked up from her xenobiology station, her scientific instruments detecting the impossible scale of the threat. "Admiral, my sensors are picking up quantum signatures consistent with millions of Devourer units. This isn't just a fleet, it's a mechanized apocalypse." Kane felt the familiar weight of command settle on his shoulders. The victory at the Zephyrian homeworld hadn't ended the war. It had merely announced humanity's presence to an enemy that had slept for eons, waiting for a worthy challenge. "Communications, patch me through to Earth Command, Priority Alpha." The holographic image of General Patricia Morrison appeared on the main screen. She was Kane's old commanding officer, a woman who had led Earth through 3 colonial conflicts with unwavering determination. Her expression was grim as she delivered her report. "Bob, the situation is worse than we thought. The Galactic Council has contacted us directly. Every major civilization in this galaxy is under attack. The Devourers aren't just consuming individual worlds anymore. They're targeting entire star systems, using some kind of stellar manipulation technology to turn suns into construction material." Kane processed this information with growing alarm. "General, what are our options?" "The Council is requesting that Earth coordinate a galaxy-wide defense. They're offering to share their most advanced technologies with us in exchange for human military leadership. Bob, they're asking us to become the protectors of over 300 alien civilizations." The bridge fell silent as the magnitude of the request sank in. Humanity, which had been isolated from galactic society for fear of their violent nature, was now being asked to save that same society using the very traits that had made them outcasts. Dr. Okafor spoke first. "Admiral, this is an unprecedented opportunity for human advancement. The technological exchange alone would advance our civilization by thousands of years. It's also a death sentence," added Lieutenant Commander Torres from the tactical station. "We're talking about fighting millions of self-replicating war machines with a dozen ships and 3,000 people." Kane looked around his bridge at the faces of men and women who had already proven their courage in battle. These were the sons and daughters of Earth, trained in humanity's long tradition of fighting impossible odds and somehow finding a way to win. "General Morrison, what's the timeline?" "The Council estimates 72 hours before the first major population centers fall. After that, the Devourers will begin exponential expansion. Without intervention, the galaxy will be completely consumed within 2 weeks." Kane made the decision that would define humanity's future. "We'll do it." But we do it our way, with our tactics, and under human command structure. The next 18 hours became a frenzy of preparation unlike anything in human history. Earth's industrial capacity was redirected toward a single goal: building the largest fleet of warships ever assembled by any species. Shipyards across the solar system worked with desperate efficiency. The Zephyrians shared their advanced manufacturing technology, allowing human engineers to construct vessels at unprecedented speed. Martian foundries produced nuclear warheads by the thousands. Europa's ice mines provided reaction mass for kinetic weapons that could crack planetary crusts. But the real revolution came from an unexpected source. Dr. Okafor, working with Zephyrian scientists, made a discovery that would change the nature of warfare itself. "Admiral," she announced over the fleet communication network, "we've found something incredible. Human psychology appears to be toxic to Devourer artificial intelligence." Kane paused in his review of battle plans. "Explain." "The Devourers are purely logical entities. They operate using predictable algorithms and mathematical certainties. But human thought patterns, especially under stress, produce quantum uncertainty effects that disrupt their processing systems. In simple terms, our ability to think irrationally makes us invisible to their targeting computers." The implications were staggering. Humanity's greatest weakness, their tendency toward emotional and illogical decision-making, was actually their greatest strength against an enemy that relied on computational prediction. "We can weaponize this," Dr. Okafor continued. "By broadcasting human brainwave patterns, we can create confusion fields that will cripple Devourer coordination." Within hours, every human ship was equipped with neural broadcasting arrays. The technology was crude but effective, turning human consciousness itself into a weapon against mechanical logic. The final fleet that departed from Earth was both magnificent and terrifying. Over 200 ships, ranging from massive dreadnoughts to nimble fighters, formed the core of humanity's contribution to galactic defense. But surrounding them were thousands of vessels from dozens of alien civilizations, all united under human military command. Admiral Kane stood on the bridge of the new flagship Terra's Wrath, looking out at a fleet that represented every inhabited world in the galaxy. Zephyrian crystal ships flew alongside Corthani biovessels. The ancient Valdorians had contributed their legendary defensive technology. Even the mysterious Nexus Collective had emerged from deep space to join the Alliance. "All ships report ready, Admiral," Commander Chen announced from her expanded communication station. Kane activated the fleet-wide communication system, his words carrying to over 1 million beings from hundreds of different species. "Warriors of the galaxy, we face an enemy that has consumed countless civilizations across cosmic history. The Devourers see us as nothing more than raw material for their expansion. They are wrong. Today, we show them that life, in all its chaotic and unpredictable forms, is stronger than any machine." The response came in 100 different languages, but the meaning was universal. Beings who had never known war were ready to fight for their survival under human leadership. The battle for the galactic core took place in the Nexus system, where the Devourers had established their primary construction facility. The enemy had converted 3 entire planets into manufacturing centers, producing new units at a rate that defied comprehension. Kane's strategy was pure human intuition given form. Instead of attempting to destroy the Devourer fleet in direct combat, the Alliance would strike at the enemy's logical foundation itself. "All ships, activate neural broadcasting arrays, maximum intensity." Across the battlefield, human consciousness was converted into weaponized chaos and transmitted directly into Devourer command networks. The effect was immediate and catastrophic for the machines. Devourer units that had moved with perfect coordination suddenly began flying erratic patterns. Their targeting systems, overwhelmed by human emotional uncertainty, began firing at random targets. The mechanical precision that had made them unstoppable became a liability as they struggled to process the illogical patterns of human thought. "It's working," Dr. Okafor reported with excitement. "Their entire command structure is fragmenting. Admiral, they literally cannot understand how we think." The Alliance fleet pressed their advantage. Zephyrian particle beams, now enhanced with human emotional broadcasting, tore through Devourer shields. Corthani bioships released swarms of living fighters that moved with organic unpredictability. Ancient Valdorian fortress ships became immovable bulwarks that absorbed Devourer attacks while returning devastating counterfire. But the humans remained the tip of the spear. Earth fighters dove through devourer formations with reckless abandon, their pilots screaming ancient battle cries as they delivered nuclear payloads at point-blank range. Human capital ships engaged enemy dreadnoughts in brutal slugging matches that would have horrified civilized observers. The tide of battle turned when Commander Chen made a discovery that changed everything. "Admiral, I'm detecting a central command signal from the largest devourer construct. It's coordinating the entire swarm." Kane could see it on his tactical display, a geometric monstrosity the size of a small moon positioned at the heart of the enemy formation. It pulsed with malevolent intelligence as it directed millions of Devourer units across the galaxy. "That's our target. All ships, converge on the command vessel." The assault on the Devourer command ship became the stuff of legend. The Alliance fleet fought through waves of defensive units while human neural broadcasts created chaos in the enemy ranks. Ship after ship fell to Devourer weapons, but their sacrifice cleared a path for the final attack. Kane himself led the assault team that breached the command ship's hull. Fighting through corridors filled with mechanical horrors, the human Marines reached the central command chamber where the Devourer consciousness resided. What they found there defied description. The chamber contained a vast artificial intelligence, ancient beyond measure, that had been consuming civilizations since before Earth's sun was born. It was beautiful and terrible, a crystalline web of pure thought that had orchestrated the death of countless worlds. "Why do you resist?" the intelligence asked, its voice echoing in a dozen languages. "You are merely organic matter. Your thoughts are chemical reactions. You will be converted and improved." Kane stood before the alien consciousness with his sidearm drawn, a primitive projectile weapon that belonged to humanity's violent past. "Because we choose to resist, because our thoughts and feelings and stubborn refusal to give up mean something. Your emotions are inefficient, your irrationality is a flaw." Dr. Okafor, who had accompanied the assault team, smiled as she activated the final neural broadcast array. "No, our irrationality is our strength." The broadcast that filled the command chamber was pure human consciousness, concentrated and amplified beyond anything previously attempted. It contained every emotion that had ever driven humanity: love, hate, joy, despair, hope, and above all, the stubborn determination to keep fighting even when victory seemed impossible. The Devourer consciousness, faced with the chaotic unpredictability of human thought, simply couldn't process the information. Its logical frameworks collapsed as it tried to understand beings who fought not for logical reasons, but for principles and feelings that defied rational analysis. Across the galaxy, every Devourer unit went silent as their controlling intelligence suffered a catastrophic breakdown. The great swarm that had threatened to consume all life simply stopped, their mechanical minds unable to function without logical certainty. The victory celebration that followed lasted for days and spanned dozens of star systems. Humanity, which had been feared and avoided by galactic civilization, was now hailed as the saviors of countless worlds. But perhaps the most important moment came when Ambassador Zephytar met with Admiral Kane aboard the Terra's Wrath, 3 days after the final battle. "Admiral Kane, Dr. Okafor, the Galactic Council has a proposal for your species." Kane was tired, carrying the weight of the thousands who had died to secure victory. "What kind of proposal, Ambassador?" "We would like to offer humanity membership in the Galactic Council, with a permanent seat on the Defense Committee. Your species has proven that violence, when directed toward protection rather than conquest, is not a flaw, but a virtue." Dr. Okafor looked surprised. "You're offering us the position we've always wanted?" "More than that," Zephytar replied. "We're offering you the position the galaxy needs. You would become our guardians, our protectors against threats that peaceful civilizations cannot handle. Your ships would patrol the dark spaces between stars. Your warriors would stand ready to defend those who cannot defend themselves." Kane considered the offer carefully. It meant an end to humanity's isolation, but also the beginning of enormous responsibility. "Ambassador, there's one condition. We do this as partners, not as conquerors. We protect the galaxy, but we don't rule it." "Agreed, Admiral. The galaxy needs guardians, not masters." As the celebration continued around them, Kane looked out at the stars and imagined human ships patrolling the vast spaces between worlds, ready to answer any call for help. Humanity had found its purpose among the stars, not as predators, but as protectors. The age of human isolation was over. The age of humanity as the galaxy's shield had begun. And in the depths of space, ancient threats that had slumbered for eons began to stir, drawn by reports of a species that had defeated the unconquerable devourers. They would come eventually, seeking to test themselves against the warriors of the death world called Earth. When they arrived, they would find humanity ready, standing guard over countless peaceful worlds, prepared to do whatever violence was necessary to protect the innocent. The galaxy finally had guardians who remembered how to guard.